Hit it, Phil.
Can it be the breeze that fills the trees with rare and magic perfume? Oh, no, it isn't the breeze. It's Jackson time. La, da, da, da.
Stay tuned.
Right after this episode.
For our discussion.
Now, a special program in living color on NBC.
And now, Anheuser-Busch Incorporated of St. Louis, Newark, Los Angeles, Tampa, Houston, Columbus, Jacksonville, and Merrimack. Brewers of Michelob, Busch, and world-renowned Budweiser, the king of beers, proudly presents... John Wayne, starring in Swing Out, Sweet Land, with Anne Margaret, Lucille Ball, Jack Benny, Dan Blocker, Roscoe Lee Brown, Glenn Campbell, Johnny Cash, Roy Clark, Bing Crosby, Phyllis Diller, the Doodletown Pipers, Lorne Green, Celeste Holm, Bob Hope, Michael Landon, Dean Martin, Ross Martin, Greg Morris, David Nelson, Rick Nelson, Hugh O'Brien, Dan Rowan and Dick Martin, William Shatner, Red Skelton, Tommy Smothers, Leslie Uggams, and Dennis Weaver.
In 76 the sky was red, thunder rumbling overhead. Bad King George couldn't sleep in his bed, and on that stormy morn, poor Uncle Sam was born.
Well, I guess you're all saying here it comes. Just put John Wayne and a show about America together, and you're in for a lot of preaching about what a great country this is and how we should all be patriotic and love our flag and be glad we live in the good old USA, problems and all. Well, that's about the size of it, except it'll be short on preaching. Countries are like people. Some take themselves so seriously that you won't get a laugh out of them in 100 years. And others are more apt than not to stick their tongues in their cheek and tell funny stories about themselves. And America, thank God, is one of those yarn-spinning places. I guess what I'm trying to say is that some folks have the idea that patriotism's gone out of fashion. We seem to think that patriotic days are dead.
We used to sing of our homeland with passion, but now we seem to shy away from it instead. I think it's time we hit the nail right on the head. This is a great country, so let's shout it clear and loud.
Clear and loud.
Take a look the history book, and you'll see why we should be proud.
Be proud.
Now hats off to America,
America,
the home of the free and the brave. If this is flag waving, I said flag waving, do you know of a better flag to wave? Do you know of a better flag to wave?
If this is flag waving, you know of a better flag to wave? Those aren't my words, or Glenn's. They're the words of a Russian immigrant named Irving Berlin, one of the many millions who came to find a better life in the United States of America. It started back in the 1600s with the 13 colonies. In those days, America's only inhabitants were Indians. Since there were no rule books about how to get along in the New World, a lot of the early settlers went about it the wrong way, like, for example, moving right in on the Indians without even asking their permission. On the other hand, some of our people went about it the right way. That's Peter Minuet joining the group in the year 1626. Why don't we eavesdrop?
I want to buy an island.
how much you pay?
300 trinkets, many colored beads, 400 bits of cloth, 63 oranges, 3 French hens.
Hold it. Me think 'em Indian get cheated. Trinkets and colored beads and colored cloth jazz no worth 'em. How much this good for in cold cash?
$24 worth.
Oh, now you're talking. Got a deal.
Hold it, friend. I got a hunch somebody's getting gypped here. This piece of land you're buying, this Manhattan Island, in the years to come could be the home of millions of people all crowded together on this hunk of land, breathing the same air. Why, there'll be buildings, traffic, smokestacks of industry, a crowded, pulsing, busy city.
Me think you're right. Somebody is getting cheated. Me give you back $2. Thank you, tall man.
You're very welcome.
We see much of you in future in movies. I think we bite 'em much dust in future from tall man.
The incident known as the Boston Massacre took place in 1770. A real forerunner to 1776, because it produced the first casualties in the American Revolution.
I'm Samuel Gray, American. I died at the hands of the British in protest.
My name is Patrick Carr, American, and I died for my country.
My name is James Caldwell, American. I died in 1770 for liberty.
My name is Samuel Maverick, American. I died in 1770 for the love of America.
My name is Crispus Attucks, American. I died in 1770 fighting for freedom. I hope it was worth it.
So do I, Mr. Attucks. So do I. Boston Harbor, the night of December the 16th, 1773. The town is quiet. The colonists going about their business as usual, except they weren't drinking any tea. Oh, they liked tea, all right. They just didn't care for the heavy tax old King George had put on them. So some of the boys decided to do what you're supposed to do with tea. Add a little water. Only this time they added a whole harbor full of water. For the next few months, the fish in Boston's harbor had all the tea they wanted, tax-free. By now, things had gone too far to stop. That's the way it is with freedom. Once you get it in your craw, you want it. You just can't live without it. 1775. With freedom in their hearts, powder in their muskets, and the British in their sights, the men who came here looking for liberty made a down payment on it. Hear that? April 19th, blast-off time on Lexington Common. The Continental soldier was a young man with a dream and the guts to ride that dream. Much as he hated war, he knew that the Declaration was nothing without the independence. So he joined the fight for unconditional freedom, the right to be his own man, in his own home, in his own country. I guess the closest the dream and those kids came to dying together was in the winter of 1777 in Pennsylvania at a place called Valley Forge. And any Continental soldier, from Private John Smith to General George Washington, who survived that little bivouac, knew he'd been to hell and back. But even in our first war, the fighting would stop from time to time for those precious moments of laughter that cushion the pain of war.
Hey, this is Bob coming to you from Valley Forge, Hope. Last night it got down to 10 degrees below zero, making this the world's first Cold War. You know, Valley Forge is so cold, last night I ordered a beer and the head on it was wearing earmuffs. And I had breakfast with Benedict Arnold this morning. He said, "What do you want, Bob?" I said, "Eggs, Benedict." Unfortunately, we ate in the enlisted men's mess. Do you guys ever have eggs on the shingle? You guys should have been with me last night. I stayed at a Fleabag hotel in Boston. Never closed my eyes. All night long, some nut was running around yelling, "The British are coming, the British are coming." How he ever got that horse up on the 7th floor, I'll never know. If that wasn't enough to keep me awake, some guy across the street was waving a lantern looking for girls all night. And he was willing to pay them car fare. But not much. Only 1 if by land and 2 if by sea. Yes, sir. Paul Revere, the Midnight Cowboy of 1775. Hey, and let's not forget those brave guys up in Lexington and Concord. The Minutemen, ready to fight in a minute. Well, you're looking at a half a minute man. That's right. When you got an act like mine, you better be ready to fight in half the time. Like my new golf club? Actually, this belongs to Thaddeus Crosby. This morning, he played golf with the British and put a whole regiment in the hospital. Let's remember why we're fighting this war, men. To get back home to our girlfriends. Remember that. You remember what girlfriends are? Those soft, sweet, tender, caressable young things our wives were right up until the wedding. And it's no use trying to smuggle girls into camp. Last night, Corporal Stuyvesant threw a fishnet over a topless waitress and tried to bring her in as live bait. But the general saw through that. Yeah. Yeah, her net didn't quite cover her gross. And I want to tell you, the sergeant knows one of you guys got a girl in camp. He even knows which tent she's in. It's the one with no snow around it every morning. Get a load of old Ben Franklin. He gets a hot key in his hand and he's hailed as a genius. I get a hot key in my hand, the house detective throws me out. I want to tell you, my ancestors came over in the Mayflower. Yes, sir, it was my granddaddy who first stepped ashore on Chrysler Rock.
That's Plymouth Rock!
You take care of your sponsor, I'll take care of mine. And you remember Bunker Hill? That was the first time our troops ever fought in such cold. 10 degrees below zero. One poor corporal pulled guard duty, shot a redcoat 5 times, only to find out I was our lieutenant with a chapped chest. Hey, and I want to ask you, doesn't Washington ever go home anymore? Every place I go, all I see are signs, George Washington slept here. Even last night at that Fleabag hotel in Boston, George Washington slept here. How we ever got that horse up on the 7th floor? Now, here's a little lady to sing a song for you. She's a real patriot. I ought to know it. 3 o'clock this morning in my room, she declared her independence. And she told me what was good enough for Grandma ain't good enough for her. So let's give the little hand a big lady, huh? Here she is, right here.
Grandma was a lady, sewed and cleaned and cooked, scrubbed her pots, raised her tots, the dear old gal was hooked. She stitched her little stitches, her life was applesauce. The thing that was false. Yeah, the thing that was breeches was false. She had no voice in government, and bondage was her fate. She only knew what love meant from 8 to 8, and that's a heck of a fate. It was good enough for Grandma, the good old gal with the frills, feathers and fuss. It was good enough for Grandma, good enough for Grandma, but it ain't good enough for us. That tyrant known as man thought with a place just stays around the frying pan. He made the world his oyster, now it ain't worth a cut. His oyster, he can't oyster on us. No, his oyster, he can't oyster on us. His muscle, our tea against his rum. Look behind the bustle for the shape of things to come. Join up with pipe and drum. Good enough for Grandma, that good old gal with the frills, feathers and fuss. It was good enough for Grandma, good enough for Grandma, but it ain't good enough for us.
Oh, thanks for the memories. I really shed a tear when I think of Paul Revere. He rode all night to save our plight, but just think of his rear. Oh, thank you. Thank you all so much. Good night, everybody.
I guess you all recognize this. The Liberty Bell. It tolled for freedom in the 1700s, and it stands today as a reminder of our great heritage. You know, nation building is a pretty serious business. Usually starts with the word. Man first thinks the words to express what it is that he wants. Once he finds them, he tries to make his deeds and actions match those words. What better example than the Declaration of Independence?
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights,
that among these are life,
liberty,
and the pursuit of happiness,
that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed.
that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of reason, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government. Laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form,
Them shall seem most likely to affect their safety
and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that government's long established.
For light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience has shown.
oh, that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed.
Long reign of abuses and usurpation, pursuing invariably the same object, evincing a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right, it is their duty, to throw off the children and to provide to God.
For their future security.
The scene, New York. The year 1789. The occasion, the inauguration of our first president. George Washington, having been duly sworn in earlier today, finds relaxation talking to some of the men who helped create the government that is now about to be put to the test of leadership.
Sir, Benjamin Franklin sends his regrets. He will be unable to be with you this day.
Ah, well, at 84 years of age and bedridden, Benjamin deserves his time to rest.
Well, without Ben's help, I would still be rewriting the Declaration of Independence.
Modestly spoken, Thomas. You'll require such tact as our Secretary of State.
The Honorable Secretary of the Treasury, Alexander Hamilton.
Mr. Adams, Mr. Jefferson,
And how shall I address you, sir?
Well, this morning, as the ship carrying me here from Mount Vernon arrived in the harbor, I was called by many, many names.
So I heard one enthusiast refer to you as Your Royal Highness, President of the United States of America, defender of the liberty of all the people.
And to compound, the band was playing God Save the King.
Well, I think of you as Mr. President.
Mr. President. Yeah. It has the unroyal simplicity we all seek.
You know, in the States, people are calling you the father of our country.
True, but I don't believe good morning, Mr. Father of our country sounds quite right. And now, gentlemen, I bid you all good night. Godspeed. Tomorrow's a new day. Indeed, tomorrow's a new world.
Good night, Mr. President.
Good night, Mr. President.
Gentlemen.
Oh, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'd like to ask you something. Well, let me put it this way. Is it true that you threw a dollar, a silver dollar, across the Potomac?
Well, many people, of course, do feel that I threw the silver dollar across the Potomac. Actually, it was across the Rappahannock.
Oh, the I mean, you sure it was the Rappahannock?
Oh, yes.
Not the Potomac?
No.
Well, good. Then this dollar belongs to me. Oh, Mr. President, another thing. Your second violinist is lousy.
Hello, Jack. Working?
So while the men who had survived one revolution were putting their ideas of leadership to the test up north, down south in a building something like this, a man named Whitney took out a patent on a machine that was to kick us off on our second revolution, an industrial revolution. What do you say we go in and say hello to Mr. Whitney?
Everybody picks some cotton sometime. Here's the dude who went to Naples, changed his name to Tony, shoved a pizza in his beer and called it minestrone.
Howdy, Mr. Whitney.
Oh, you can call me Ellie.
Eli.
Well, nice to know you, Mr. Eli.
No, Mr. Whitney, you're Eli.
How about that? I work here all morning. Somebody's out there changing my name.
I ask you what you're doing?
Yeah, just tinkering. You care to join me in a tink?
What's this thing you're tinkering on?
Now, you just get your cotton-picking hands off my cotton-picking thing.
What do you call your thing?
That's my cotton beer.
Your cotton beer? You sure you don't mean cotton gin?
Well, not on this program, baby. I don't need no 8 Clydesdale horses to pull a martini. Besides, whoever named the horse Clyde, unless it was Clyde and Dale and Roy and all that.
Mind if I ask how this cotton beer works?
Heck no, you go right ahead and you act.
All right, how does it work?
Funny you should act. I'll tell you, baby. Now, the cotton beer, excuse me, let me explain this whole thing. You get this, see? You get the cotton beer. Now, you gotta have, you chew this cotton up real good, then you gotta have something that tastes good to rinse it down with.
Whatever got you started on this idea?
Well, it was my boy, Bud.
Bud?
Bud! Come on in here and show yourself to this young man that's doing a bad impression of John Wayne. Hi, Bud.
This is your boy, Bud?
Yeah, baby, up until we go swimming. Now, you show this young man your Australian crawl.
I better leave you two alone. I left my horse double parked.
How he ever got that horse up on the 7th floor, I'll never know.
Meanwhile, back at the country.
The country at the turn of the century was really busting her stays. The flag was adding more stars. Vermont, 1791. Kentucky, 1792. Tennessee in 1796. And on March 1st, 1803, Ohio came in. But 2 months later, we had a real windfall. The Louisiana Purchase. Have a look at it. Yes, the Louisiana Purchase gave all those restless Americans back east a new frontier, a new place to head to. Folks came from just about everywhere, even including this family starting out from Hardin County, Kentucky in the year 1814.
Whoa! Oh, boy.
Why are we stopping, Tom?
Oh, it's a dang wheel. Gotta get it fixed.
Just sit there, neighbor. I'll get it.
Much obliged.
Oh, Tom, I'm not sure we're doing the right thing, moving the young'uns and all.
Well, of course we're doing the right thing, Nancy. People back east are jammed in so tight that you're like hay in a stack. Can't walk 5 miles without hearing somebody else's axe or seeing somebody else's chimney smoke.
Well, I just pray the Lord will take care of us, Tom. What's the matter, honey? Put your head down.
Now, Nancy, I don't want you spoiling the boy. I'm going to be needing him with me to do the planting and help with the chores and all. That learning that you're giving him, that's just something that's going to have to wait its time.
Well, then I'll get him up early and start the learning. I'll learn him some more at night. But this boy's going to know more than you and me ever had a chance to.
You know, years back, I used to dream of doing for you and giving you things, and now everything that we own, we got in this wagon. Heading out in that whole great big country stretched out ahead of us. Nobody knowing what's going to happen to it or to us. Everybody just trying to find his own way in it.
But that's all I'm praying for us, Tom. To be a part of something. And to find our own way in it. You and me and little Sarah and Abraham.
Now, Nancy, you promised me. You made me a promise that when we got to Illinois territory that you'd call him Abe.
The wheel's all fixed now, neighbor.
Well, thank you. What can I pay you?
Maybe sometime I'll need a wheel fixed.
Well, I just hope that the good Lord sees fit to let us all live long enough for our family to repay yours.
Amen. Mr. Lincoln, amen.
Thank you.
Obliged.
Yeah! Amen, Mr. Lincoln. Amen. So the child of destiny moved west to grow into the man who would remind a later generation that an earlier generation had declared all men are created equal, and who died trying to prove it. But in these early 1800s, other men were proving other things. This printer here, he puts out a page a day, guaranteed by the First Amendment that whatever he prints, folks have a right to read. Let's go in and see what's news. What seems to be the trouble, printer?
Oh, I can't get this darn thing to work.
Why don't you get it fixed?
Fixed? Fixed? You can't do that. Haven't you heard of freedom of the press? Can't fix the press, you know.
Can you make a good living at it?
Oh, yeah. There's big money in printing. Wait up.
That bill has Martha's picture on it.
Does? Well, they just said put Washington's picture on it. They didn't say which one. Well, anyhow, she looks like George. Especially from the back.
Well, I guess old habits are hard to break.
Huh?
I see Paul Revere was out horseback riding again last night.
Yeah, how he ever got that horse on the 7th floor, I'll
never know. You sure seem to like your work,
Oh,
printer.
I love it. I love it. I've been a printer all my life.
Uh-huh.
I guess you might say that I've got printer's ink in my veins.
Printer's ink in your veins?
In all of them. Got a pin on you? I'll show you.
Here it comes, folks.
Oh. How about that? My right arm doesn't know what my left arm's writing.
I sure would like to know how this whole shooting match worked.
Well, you're too late for today's paper.
Oh?
Oh, yes. We've already put her to bed.
Oh, too bad.
Yeah. You want to go upstairs and kiss her goodnight?
Guess I better be moving on.
Say, why don't you mosey out to California and get rich in the big gold strike?
Gold strike, California? That doesn't happen for 50 years.
I know that, but look at the head start you'll get.
Printer, here's the editorial you wrote.
Oh, yes. Before you go, stranger, tell me what you think of this little editorial that I've written.
Be glad to.
Let us be aware in these infant years of our beloved republic, there are those who wait to celebrate our failure. Be not disheartened. This will always be so, for we have lighted our candle of liberty in a dark world, and each of us is in charge of keeping it lighted. And though the winds of dissent may threaten our flame, despair not, remembering that a nation which allows dissent is stronger from within and brighter from without.
For when dissent becomes a crime, hope becomes despair. Dissent, but dissent honorably. Dissent with faith in your hearts, not despair. Dissent to rebuild, not to destroy. Dissent from within, for dissent from without becomes attack. Speak out for what you believe in, at least as loudly as you speak against the system. For gentlemen, if ours is a generation to say democracy will not administer to the people, let it be a conscious decision arrived at only after every opportunity for man to rule himself has failed.
Printed. And it must have worked because in the early 1800s, we kept adding more states. 1812, Louisiana. 1816.
The great Hoosier state of Indiana is proud to add another star to our banner.
1817.
The Magnolia State of Mississippi and all her own star-spangled citizens are proud to become the 20th state.
1818.
What so proudly we hail now flies over the new state of Illinois.
1819.
The cotton state of Alabama is pleased to join the home of the brave.
1820.
Great pine tree state of Maine casts its vote to join the land of the free. Yeah.
1821.
The Show Me territory of Missouri becomes the 24th state by the dawn's early light.
Andrew Jackson's presidency marked the victory of the common man in America. Earlier presidents had been from the aristocratic class. Now one of us was in there, and he was having himself a time. The fancy minuet was drowned out by a Cajun fiddle and a black American invention called the banjo.
Oh, Susan.
cry for me. 'Cause I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee. I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee. I'm going to Louisiana, my true love for to see. It rained all night the day I left, the weather it was dry. The sun so hot I froze to death. Susanna, don't you cry. Oh, Susanna, oh, don't you cry for me. I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee.
The mid-1800s brought some good news and some bad news to the country. Good news came in a fistful of states, starting in 1836 with the proud and great state of Arkansas. Then in 1837,
the Wolverine state of Michigan, 26 star on our flag.
2 in 1845,
The family-sized state of Texas.
And Florida, the Sunshine Land.
1846,
The Hawkeye State of Iowa.
1848,
The Badger State of Wisconsin.
1850,
The Golden State, California.
1858,
The great North Star state of Minnesota.
1859,
The 33rd State, Oregon.
1861,
The sunflower state of Kansas.
1863,
The mountain state of West Virginia.
1864.
And the 36th state, Nevada.
The bad news of the 1800s came in the form of a pretty rough argument. Because for the first time in our lives, we were having a family fight. This is Appomattox, where it supposedly all ended. The tombstone reads, Civil War, rest in peace. Born 1861, died pretty soon, I hope.
Two brothers on their way. Two brothers on their way. Two brothers on their way.
1865, April. 2 events. Abraham Lincoln gave up his life. Robert E. Lee gave up his sword. One more blue, one more gray. Now that the North and South were back together again, it was up to 3,000 miles of steel track and 10 million feet of lumber to join the East and the West. To the railroading man, the train whistle was his music, the rhythm of the wheels his heartbeat, and the coal and steam his blood and sweat. The train is life. Bullet!
Rolling on to Promontory, Utah. We are rolling through the prairie grass and a mountain pass, breaking trail for the rail and the iron wheel, tying east to west with a ribbon of steel. Hell on wheels, that's what they call the westbound crew that worked for the Union Pacific. Mostly Irishmen who left their native land to escape a famine. Hard-working, hard-living, hard-loving, burly men that would wage a month's pay on a fist fight. Men of determination and purpose, for nothing could stop their ever-westward movement. 10 spikes to the rail, 400 rails to the mile, 2 miles of track a day. Rolling, rolling, on to Promontory, Utah. We are rolling through the prairie grass and a mountain pass, breaking trail for the rail and the iron wheel, tying east to west with a ribbon of steel. Out in California, they were faced with a gigantic task of driving a railroad east right through the Sierra Nevada mountain, a wall of solid granite 100 miles thick. 16,000 men, mostly young Chinese, labored the summer's boiling sun and in a bitter blast of wintertime, moving ton after ton of earth, timber, and stone. Not with machines, mister, with elbow grease, shovel and pick, man against mountain, muscle against mountain, brains against mountain. And though days would pass that it looks like a mountain might win, in the end it gave away. Rolling, rolling. and a mountain pass, breaking trail for the rail and the iron wheel. Tying east to west with a ribbon of steel. At Promontory Summit on May 10th, 1869, the last spike, a golden spike, was driven into a laurel tie. And from Omaha across the Nebraska plains, over the Rocky Mountains of Wyoming, a distance of 1,086 miles, came locomotive number 119 to gently kiss cow catchers with locomotive Jupiter out from Sacramento, 690 miles away over the Sierra Nevada range. And around the nation was telegraphed a single word, done, and east and west were one. Rolling, rolling, on to Promontory, Utah, we are rolling. Through the prairie grass and a mountain pass, breaking steel for the rail and the iron wheel. Tying east to west with a ribbon of steel. While the railroads were branching out like veins in a body above the ground, the veins of gold and silver were petering out below the ground. Still, the iron horse didn't put the four-legged one completely out of business. Somehow the cowboy managed to hang on. But it was different for the miners, because when they struck out, there was nothing left to do but pack up and get, leaving their empty towns behind them, ghost towns. The Old West, the Wild West, is long gone. But that doesn't matter. What does matter is that nothing ever dies if folks don't want it to.
How much for a room and bath? We've been known to get $50 a night when times are good. How much tonight? $1. Sheriff, how come you got me locked up in this here jail? Because last night you got yourself in a fight, sent 14 men to the hospital. What was the fight about? About whether we need a larger hospital.
Must be a lot of ghosts around here. Bet I know how to wake them up. Beer for everybody!
Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling, Clementine, you are lost and gone forever.
canyon in a cabin, excavating for a mine, dwelt a miner, 49er, and his daughter, Clementine. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling Clementine. Thou wert lost and gone forever, dreadful sorrow, Clementine. Drove she duckling to the water every morning, just at 9. Hit her foot against a splinter, fell into the foaming brine. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever, dreadful sorry Clementine. Then the miner, 49er, soon began to peek and pry. Thought he ought go join his daughter in the water. Now he's with his Clementine. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever, dreadful sorry Clementine. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever, dreadful sorry Clementine. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling, darling, darling Clementine. Thou art lost and gone forever, dreadful sorry. Dreadful sorry.
By the time 1888 rolled around, the women folk were hungry for another try at the White House. They'd already made one stab at it back in 1872, when they ran Victoria Claflin Woodhull. This time, they all got behind Mrs. Belva A. Lockwood. Now, how would that sound? Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Mrs. Belva A. Lockwood.
As we gather here on the eve of this election, I want all of you to know one thing. This girdle is killing me. I am here to ask for your support. I want your support. I need your support. I beg your support, because you know I look better with all the support I can find. And when I'm elected president, you're all welcome at the White House anytime, except Thursday when I'll be doing my hair. You all know my slogan, the White House or bust.
You'll never get in the White House.
And never get a bust either.
And when I'm elected president, the White House will be a pink house. And all future wars will be fought by men over 70. And the weapons will be canes and slippers.
Sisters, arise now, off with the ball and chain, off with the men dictating what we do. Fight for equality as our way of life. Abe Lincoln freed us too. It was sisters arise now, off with their frills and the feathers and fuss we do. It was good for equality and time, but it ain't free. No, it won't be free. No, it ain't going to be
By the time the century ended, we had close to 76 million between our oceans. The new nation had become the dream of people all over the world, and millions came in leaps and bounds, with little more than the clothes on their backs and hope in their hearts. And all they asked was for a chance to put their two hands to work in our free marketplace. Europe's poorest became America's middle class. Men willing to work found no limits on their ambitions. And so in our first 2 centuries in this God-given land, men with a dream had converted untold acres of forests and lakes and rivers and plains, mountains and valleys into a land of opportunity. Here is a lady that came to our shores from France in 1886, Miss Liberty.
Yea, Mr. Clemens.
Well, nice to see you, Frederick. Won't you pull up a thought and join me?
I'd be delighted to sit with an old and respected friend.
Thank you.
This is quite a moment. Samuel Clemens, alias Mark Twain, born 1835, died 1910, meets Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey, who later shortened that to Frederick Douglass to protect his life. Born 1817, died 1895. Let's listen in. Every word you're about to hear is true, mostly in direct quotes from these two gentlemen. Accent on the gentle.
Sitting here, I find myself trying to imagine what Huckleberry Finn would have thought about that grand old lady out there in the harbor, or Tom Sawyer, or the girls, Becky and Polly.
Oh, my favorite, Big Jim.
Sad to say, you know, some of your friends object to the character of Jim in Huckleberry Finn. Of course, I can only regret that they're behaving as stupidly as whites often do.
I doubt those who criticize you are aware, as I am, of 2 young men of my color you sent through college.
I'm so proud of those boys, too.
Well, you should be. One a gifted minister, the other a graduate of Yale Law School. Our country can use more of both.
I happen to believe very strongly in the family of mankind. And on that premise, whatever I can do for my fellow man, of any color, is my partial reparation for treatment others may not have accorded him. Goodness is due from every white man to every black man.
You are living proof, Samuel, that men are better than their theology.
You know, I do believe I saw Miss Liberty up there cock an ear to hear that.
It would not be the first time I've spoken to her.
I know what you mean. I've told her a few things myself. I have been blessed with liberty, thanks to those who came before me to this land.
And I have been blessed with thoughts of liberty, thanks to those who will come after me in this land.
Dignity has shaken my hand.
And waved at me.
I am aware that there are wrongs to be righted.
Because of rights that have been wronged.
I have known freedom since I was born as a child.
And I, since the day I escaped as a slave.
I have long been concerned with injustice in our states.
And I of the state of our injustice.
As the midnight of my day on earth draws near, I ask nothing but the improvement of mankind.
Of all mankind.
I have never claimed my country to be perfect.
Nor have I.
There's opportunity for improvement in these not-so-united states.
That they may truly be united states.
I have no doubt that such improvements will be made, eventually.
Hope burns within me. They will be, eventually.
I have made every conscious effort to live by the golden rule.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
She's a mighty lady. I wonder what she thinks about these years.
I don't know, but I imagine she prays a lot.
Lord God, who has brought millions to our shores, grant that each of them shall find the freedom he sailed for in this land, which honors all who honor it. Lord God, who has brought man from wagon train to space capsule and filled this great country, imperfect though it may be called by some, give equal dignity to all. Lord God, remind fiery young hearts that passion works best when tempered with reason, and that nothing was ever built up and torn down at the same time. Lord God, remind us constantly the land we call home wasn't built in a day. Bear with our failures, forgive us our trespasses. Lord God, the torch I hold high is liberty's nightlight.
Well, here we are way down south in North Carolina. Kitty Hawk, to be exact. A couple of Ohio brothers got their heads in the clouds. I see by the sign that you boys are the Wright brothers.
Well, you might say I'm a Wright brother, but Orville here, he's a little more on the liberal side.
Talk around town is that you're building a flying machine.
I didn't know that.
Well, what did you think we were building?
Looks like just another bicycle to me.
What did you think when we put the wings on it?
I thought it had died and gone to heaven.
Let's get back to work. We're going to make it possible for man to fly.
You should have seen me last night.
You were flying?
Stacked up till midnight.
Your plane was stacked up till midnight?
No, my girl was.
Let me hear about it.
Folks say that you've been working on something in this barn that may get man off the ground. And I want to know the principle behind it.
Did he say he's got the principle on the ground behind the barn? Good, because the math teacher's a lot more fun.
I don't want to hear about it.
But tell her not to bring her horse.
I don't want to hear about her.
Because she never lets you lock the barn door until after the horse is gone.
Go to your room.
I can't. The horse is in my room.
How he ever got that horse on the 7th floor, I'll never know. Well, I can see that you boys are busy, so I'll just mosey along.
Come back anytime, stranger.
I don't want him to come back anytime, stranger.
That's not what I meant.
He's strange enough right now.
That's not what I meant, and you know it.
I mean, if he comes back any stranger, I don't want to be in the same neighborhood.
You don't want to be in the same neighborhood.
That's funny, neither do I.
Well, don't worry about it. Chances are we'll never see him again.
Never see John Wayne again?
What's the matter with you? We're playing a scene in the late 1800s. Don't call him John Wayne. John Wayne hasn't even been born yet. And we are the Wright brothers. Now, have you got that straight?
Of course.
Good.
We just had a nice long talk with a guy who hasn't been born yet.
And we're the Wright brothers.
Tommy and Dickie.
Tommy and Dickie are not the Wright brothers.
That's CBS propaganda.
Come on, have it your way. Now, let's finish this airplane.
Good, because I already hired a stewardess.
A stewardess? What do we want with a stewardess? We're building a plane to carry cargo.
You should have seen the cargo this stewardess was carrying last night.
You want to give it another try?
Okay,
all right. Now then, get the trim tab set this time. Ready, Wilbur?
Ready, Orville?
All right, contact.
Contact.
There we go.
I'm sure there were a lot of folks back in... I'm sure there were a lot of folks back in those days who truly believed that if God had intended man to fly, he would have given him wings! I wish we had more time to talk about some of the many wonderful things that have happened since you and I were born, but the old clock on the wall's got a beat on me. Now I guess I have just enough time to thank the wonderful Budweiser family for bringing us into your homes. And my thanks to all the beautiful people in front and back of the camera who were brought together tonight by their own goodwill and love of country. I'm a lucky fella for many reasons. Lucky that I was brought up to believe in a lot of things I found worthwhile. I believe in common decency, without which no society or goodwill can exist. I believe in my country, my family, my fellow man, and my God. I believe in straight talk and freedom with an accent on the free, which is still the best four-letter word I know. I believe in giving a fella a second, even a third chance. But keep your eye on him. I believe the moon's a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there because this country on this planet is man's last chance to make a go of it for humanity. And I believe there's time in my life and yours to get this country in such shape that God would be proud of it. I believe your kids and mine are just you and me getting a second crack at the world. And our job is to see that they don't make all the mistakes we did and don't invent too many of their own. I believe 99% of them are a credit to their folks, a pride to their country, and deserve a pat on the backs from all of us for being what they are and not waving a white flag at life. I believe in hope for people of all ages, that equal opportunity is based on equal obligation. And speaking of opportunity, American opportunity has no limits, has been known to knock more than once. How about you very young people who see a tough life ahead? Well, when Lee surrendered to Grant at Appomattox, Booker T. Washington was a 9-year-old slave. Yet by the time he was 28, he became president of Tuskegee Institute. And at 8 months, Neil Armstrong took his first small baby step toward mankind and fell flat on his face. At 6 years old, Mickey Mantle was settling for a base on balls. At 7, Wilt Chamberlain nailed a practice hoop over his garage without a ladder. And at 8, Charles Lindbergh was flying a kite, wondering how it'd feel to be up that high. At 9, Burt Bacharach was thinking the piano lessons would never end. How many of you are pushing 50 and complaining that the country is going to hell? Crispus Attucks was in his 40s when he died on State Street in Boston, fighting for the freedom that we share. And John F. Kennedy was 44 when he asked not what his country could do for him, but what he could do for his country. And how many of you over 65 are just settling down now to rest after a busy life? Well, a fellow by the name of Eisenhower, who had already lived one lifetime as a soldier, was reelected to the presidency when he was 67 years young. Well, by now I've made my point, or I never will. Oh, there's one other thing. Every man and woman or child I've ever known, met, seen, or heard of wants one thing more than anything else in the world. That one thing is tomorrow. Tomorrow, that's the only thing any of us have going for us. And I believe this: if tomorrow all of us, every single one of us, gets out of bed and says, this is my country and I'm going to do good for it, we'll make the greatest step forward since a pilgrim's foot found Plymouth Rock. Tomorrow, remember, this is my country and I'm going to do good for it. Just might work. We'll never know unless we give it a fair try. Oh yeah, and there's one other thing I'll say tomorrow, because I say it every day of my life. God bless America.
That I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light
from above. From the mountains to the prairies,
to the ocean, wide with foam.
God bless America,
my home, sweet home.
God bless America,
Land I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night.
With the light from above,
From the mountains
to the prairies,
to the ocean,
White with foam.
God bless America,
My home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
Also appearing in tonight's cast were Kathy Baker, Bernice Dalton, Jane Harris, Paul Reed Roman, Lisa Todd, Arthur Tovey. This is Ed McMahon.
Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of world-renowned Budweiser, the king of beers, has enjoyed bringing you the John Wayne Special, Swing Out, Sweet Land, and wishes you a pleasant good evening.
Well, hello again. This is Buck Benny. We have some more of our summer specials going on, and so we have our friend John with us. Hey, John.
Hello.
Hello. From this day in Buck Benny.
Yeah, I was trying to show off my
Jack
Jack Benny shirt. So.
Yes. Mangle it. It's this day in me. So anyway.
Well, if my shirt is Bucky the Beaver, so we've got,
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Lots of bucks. Okay, very good. The buck stops here. And Kathy Fuller-Saley we have who's joining us, and we're so delightful to have her. And newest book news.
The publisher says maybe by July to have actual
Awesome. Awesome. And that's volume 4. Volume 4.
It will be the 19 episodes when he gets picked up, but Jack has been fired by Canada Dry, but Al Jolson has quit his Chevrolet show, and NBC manages to keep the sponsor by saying, "Here, take Jack Benny." So
an exciting episode, exciting thing for sure. I mean, I can't wait for that. And we broke the news here that it's in orange, so that's the cover color. Yay! I guess I will break a little bit of news here that just news to me and my listeners, and maybe John will benefit from it too. We'll see. But I had an episode of Judy Garland in 1957 that was really rough. And so I listened to it and I was like, it's almost undoable. It's almost, it was so crackly and so issue. I was like, I don't know. What's out there? Is there any software out there I can play with this or anything? So then I found a piece of software and I was like, okay, I'll try this out and see what happens. And I put it through it. And it was like, oh my word. Her the interview parts of her, because her being interviewed, and then I don't know if she sings songs or if they play records of her songs, or how that part's done. Anyway, the part where she's talking and being interviewed is like now crystal clear. Absolutely one of the best I've ever heard her sound, and it's beautiful. And I couldn't believe the difference it made. And then I listened to the parts, with music, and the music was horrendous because it took out all the instruments were gone. So all that's left is Judy's voice. And Judy's voice, like whenever there's background singers singing, it can't figure out who's Judy and who's the background singers and stuff. So you'll get like Judy gone, and the background singers there for like maybe like half a word, and then Judy, you hear finish the word. So it's almost undoable. But what I'm going to do is create a file that has the songs untouched that'll still have lots of static on them. And then the interview will come on and be crystal clear. And then the song, I think that's the best way to do it. Now, having said that, I'm like, I've been playing a lot of old Jack Benny shows. And I was like, what would happen if I ran an old Jack Benny show through this? Same thing. Jack's show sounded better than it ever had, at least the dialogue parts. The problem I run into, really, because there's, it messes up the singing parts, but half the music's cut out of those early episodes anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. But the problem I ran into was just that it would remove the crowd. So like the laughing and you kind of need that in a Jack Benny show. So I had to really play with it to get it to a point where it would improve the audio of he and the gang, but it would leave the crowd in there. But the crowd comes in at a lower. They're not as loud. So I haven't decided how I'm going to do that, but definitely because I just unfortunately I found it at the wrong, sort of the wrong time, sort of the right time. I'd just been airing this season all of the early Jack Benny shows, so I was basically done with that. So I decided I'm not going to touch those. I'll just air the last couple the way I had them, and next time I go through, I'll fix them. But we're heading into the first Jello year is going to be next year with Kenny Baker. And I was playing with it on those, and it really helped them out. So those episodes, when I present them in the fall, are going to be corrected. I'm going to have a chance to play with this and see what I can do. And it's just, I think it'll make it where a regular audience, besides us that are like historians of Jack Benny, listening to it and going, okay, I can make out a word there. And I think where more people will get regular enjoyment out of it and get to see what Jack was really doing and how funny he was pre the Phil Harris years, because it's just with Phil, that's when the sound quality picks up to the point where everybody can enjoy it and listen to it and everything. But the show, like Kathy says and shows in her books, it was funny even before that. So,
well, maybe I can get you, you could do one, and maybe I could get that script done. And
yeah, I think that's great. That's a good idea. And some of them, of course, are only half there. So getting the other half where we have the script would be great. So we'll see. We'll do this summer. We'll talk about it some and things. But anyway, so that's kind of cool.
Wow, congratulations.
Awesome. Yeah, I was excited. I couldn't believe it. I could improve the quality of those shows. And it's a marked difference where you can really tell. Anyway, so today.
Oh, that you could use such magic on Engelbert Humperdinck and John Wayne. So.
Exactly. Yeah, some things are beyond hope. Anyway, the show we're going to be discussing today is the John Wayne special from 1970. This is John Wayne's first special. He pulled out all the plugs and got everybody that he could get. and they are some of the best, most well-known performers on the planet at that point. And it's amazing just the credits at the beginning, how long it takes to run through the credits because there's so many people in this show. Having said that, the downside is apparently they put all their money into the cast and not so much into the writers and the script. So that's the dicey part. But anyway, we'll go around and get folks' thoughts on it. John, what were your impressions?
Well, it's not perfect, but it's my country. It's a country of industry where men have built it from the sweat of their brow, and now we live it. It may not be perfect, but it's my country. That's pretty much the show. You've seen it now.
Yeah.
So I would say, it's fun to like try to recognize people, especially if I wasn't paying attention that much during the opening credits. I was getting it started and I was doing other things and I was setting up. So I was, able to enjoy watching it, looking for people and seeing who I could recognize and who it's like, oh, that person looks familiar, but I'm not sure who they are.
Right.
So that kind of celebrity spotting is fun. I thought the song of the Declaration of Independence was hilarious. That was great. And now, was that the Fifth Dimension? Because I looked up the song and it says it's by the Fifth Dimension, but were they performing it?
I thought that was the like Up for People.
Or something. I think it was
group of earnest young people. So.
My wife was looking over my shoulder and she's like, oh, is that the Fifth Dimension? Maybe she'd heard of it before, but I'd seen them on the Ed Sullivan Show. It didn't look like the Fifth Dimension, but it did kind of have that vibe. They must have written the song or had it on record or whatever. It was great to see William Shatner in a powdered wig.
Yes.
But one of the big problems of this episode is he didn't do anything, right? And the same with Tommy Smothers. Weird to see Tommy Smothers without Dick Smothers. And Red Skelton, they didn't do anything. There were no jokes. So right. I would say that was the biggest problem. Yeah.
Yeah, they just had a script that they apparently must have been told you have to follow the script and just been stuck with it. Because otherwise I think they would have improvise some things and come up with something. They have a lot of talented performers that could have improved their parts, and I just have a feeling they couldn't touch them. Now, that was weird was Bob Hope seemed like normal Bob Hope. They let him go. That was part of it. He was supposed to be the joke or whatever, that he was entertaining the troops even back in the Revolutionary War time. But it was just it was a weird seeing everybody else so constrained and stuck in what they had to do, and then Bob Hope has this freedom to do more of his normal act. So
I mean, maybe they just took, I bet they took his USO scripts and adapted it to what it would have been like in the Revolutionary War. So this is the best thing Bob Hope ever did, were some of those live performances in front of the troops. So it's sort of his zone, and it's hilarious. I love that. You're right. That is I forgot about that. That is probably one of the best parts of the show.
Yeah, which is weird because I mean, oftentimes we sort of get Bob Hope bashed here. Some we're such Jack Benny fans, but I'd say Bob Hope did a really good job of this one. Kathy, what were your thoughts?
I think John Wayne was trying to do something impossible. To be patriotic is to be serious. And he's trying to be so sincere, but he's brought in comedians,
right?
And so this is supposed to be a serious, patriotic, country-loving show, and it's hard to mesh that up. It's very incongruous to mesh that up with comedy. So,
especially in 1970.
Yeah. Well, if you think that the Kent State murders had just been that May, and so 1970, but on the other hand, this is presented by NBC that is also doing Laugh-In.
Yeah.
So Laugh-In used all the same stars, Even John Wayne did show, and Richard Nixon. And so that was comedy and not patriotism. Interestingly, a review by Jack Gould in the New York Times just discusses this and says it's really hard to be patriotic unless you're like fighting battles and things like that. And he also suggests one person being patriotic is great, but 50 different people. So he's suggesting that this was a very difficult thing to do. And amusingly, Jack Gould really gets at John Wayne. How dare you do this in the service of Budweiser?
Yeah.
Patriotic beer. So.
Yeah. And I noticed they did normally when you would go to a saloon, you'd order whiskey, but it was beer all the way. Like there were a couple of those things where they snuck beer into the skit.
Because it was a one sponsor show and 90 minutes. The expense of this thing must have been tremendous. So for a one-off special. But another fascinating thing is that very same night on NBC, I think it was on NBC. Yes, it was an episode of The Bold Ones where Hal Holbrook plays a senator who is investigating a shooting on campus, on a university campus, and the trial between trying to find out who's at fault, the students, the National Guard, the frantic governor. And that's the very same night to be dealing with all of this. Really just shows the complexity of what was going on in 1970. So
it was I assume since this was an hour and a half long, it must have gone against it. It must have been unless it came after it or something or whatever, but I'm not sure when The Bold Ones was shown at night.
It was a 2-part episode, so that's all I know is that everybody remarked that right after this thing was that thing, and so.
Well, and maybe it was directly out. Maybe it was on the same channel. I don't know which channel.
It claims they were both on NBC.
So okay, so it must have, so it couldn't have been competing with it. It was going in. So that's really interesting. See this juxtaposed with that. Wow.
And I do appreciate, as we talked about a mixture of older and younger performers, I do appreciate, everybody's giving John Wayne credit for this. So I will appreciate the fact that he brought on Glenn Campbell and, and some other, and those young, very earnest singers to try and be a uniting kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, this is America and we can all agree it's great. And
Right. Well, it's so interesting too, because I find that then the country was kind of torn in two different directions, and this would appeal to a certain group of people that was feeling like, oh my gosh, there's so many changes happening. There's so many things that we're grabbing onto, kind of what was or what.
Nixon would call them the silent majority.
Yes.
So who weren't out protesting one thing or another. Yep. So.
And now today, I would think something like this could go again. I mean, it would work. It would have an audience for sure. That would be for, you could not change a word of this and probably present it, and some folks would really get into it and other people would really criticize it. And I'm sure that's what happened it's obviously what happened at the day during the time too. Interesting, they can get all these folks. You would think you would read your part or whatever, some of them, and go, okay, that's just not my style, that's not me, but they were willing to do it. As we were saying, Bob Hope kind of got his own thing to do. But even Jack Benny, his part is really little, but it's definitely Jack Benny. It's definitely not him just doing a patriotic thing. It's got a joke built into it. It's about his stinginess and things. So I mean, all of that, the Jack Benny piece of this worked for how small it was. And then still my favorite part that we haven't mentioned yet was George Burns, and just coming on in his regular clothes that he would wear while everybody else is dressed up as the Revolutionary War, and just looked like he just sort of walked through the back lot and showed up and just came in and made his little comment and headed off, and that was it. And but his comment was one of the great ones because it was something he'd said to Jack many times, and it was a joke, kind of an in-joke between he and Jack for many years of always asking Jack if he's working, sort of thing, and see Jack in full on Revolutionary War gear, and then ask him if he's working. That was brilliant. I thought it was great. So there were definitely positives to this show at times. I mean, certainly Johnny Cash singing on the train was pretty good. The concept of him and the fact that he's on a train and the train is like going while he's on it, and then he starts singing. It's not going anymore when he's singing, but they show it's close enough that you can't. I assume they want us to think that he's still going, but I'm like, yeah, I don't think they're gonna take a chance with Johnny Cash standing on a moving train singing a song. But, no, there was definitely certain things in this that were, I thought, really interesting. Yeah, and just the whole concept of it was interesting, that they would do it, at this time, that they would the amount of people that they would get doing this, and that they would still try. And so like some things were tries and you're like, okay, did that really work? Like they had their singers, I noticed, were a broad variety of singers from different ethnic groups, but the person in front usually was a white guy almost every time, and sometimes there'd only be one white guy and everybody else wasn't, but he would be right up front. Here's our white guy. Now they did at one point, because I was going, oh man, are they going to stick with that the whole time? And eventually there was a part where they didn't. They had a black singer up front and things, with 12 black singers and 3 white singers, you're going, okay, they should have a black singer up front. There's more of them. So anyway, but
that was it, and the attempt to give women some credit, whether it's Lucille Ball being Lady Liberty, or a fairly funny odd sketch of Phyllis Diller being the first woman to run for president. So I think they're trying.
Yeah, they were trying. They tried a few things, and some of them kind of worked, and that was good. But John, you were going to say something.
Well, I was just reminded of that song because my kids, I've got 3 girls and a boy, but the girls will often do what they call the pop version of a song. So we'll be listening to a song, or they'll hear a song or whatever, like Pop Goes the Weasel, and they'll say, oh, here's the pop version. All around the mulberry bush, or whatever. Right? And that's sort of what it reminded me of when I saw Oh My Darling Clementine done in this sort of like, I don't know, pop version of 1970. It just reminded me of that.
Yes.
It was also fun to see Bing Crosby, to recognize him through the makeup. And I thought he did a good job doing the vibe of Mark Twain and all those little things where you're, again, trying to catch the celebrities that, because they're not celebrities of my day, but, through doing Jack Benny and watching old shows, you start to recognize some of these people. So that was fun.
Well, and it's neat that they did it in 1970. It was such a good time to do it, in that everybody was still, I shouldn't say everybody, a lot of people that were famous, a lot of legends were still alive. Had they done this in 1980, a lot of them would be gone. I mean, Bing Crosby would be gone. Jack would definitely be gone. There'd be a number of them gone. And so it's just nice that they captured this when they did. In fact, that's one thing I've noticed with all of these specials, all these things that Jack appears on. We're just so lucky that he wanted to keep busy, and he was appearing on lots of different shows. And so we get a chance to see this swath of entertainment that existed across all the channels and across the United States, and get a chance to see Jack on these various shows. And we get a chance to go through these shows. I like this one. If Jack wasn't in it, we probably wouldn't be presenting it, but it's an interesting thing for people to see, I think. And so it's cool that he was in this. Kathy, you were going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say, I couldn't recognize Anne Margaret, who was busy flailing her skirt looked and had her hair all in her eyes. That was
Yeah.
quite a USO kind of performance there.
Yes.
So
Well, and of course it was right on the heels or with the Bob
That's right.
Hope thing, and so it tied
Yes.
in with his whole USO feel to it. And she would perform with Bob Hope on USO tours and things at times for sure. She was probably, I'm not 100% sure of this, but I've definitely seen her with him enough times that I think she was probably with him more than just about anybody else. Anyway, and John, something else you were gonna.
Well, I recognized, just going and seeing who I could recognize. Is his name Greg Morris, the guy from
Yes.
Mission Impossible?
Yes.
TV show?
in the stripy shirt, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And all of Bonanza was here without their
Dan Blocker and
yeah, all of them except for Adam, who of course had left the show by then. But yeah, it was Dan Blocker and Lauren Green and Michael Landon, the whole group. So
yeah. I wrote down the Railroad Hammer song, "Sweaty Ridiculousness." That was pretty fun.
Yes.
Like some of those cheesy, 60s TV shows. Even John Wayne at the end saying, "Well, the moon's a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there."
Yeah.
Like you just couldn't have that in a TV show today.
Yeah, exactly. It was nice that John Wayne decided, towards the end to get in his whole cowboy gear and everything.
Yes, I was thinking about that. Yeah.
So it was different seeing him without that, but seeing him just in a suit most of the time, and it was like, okay, well, that's what it is. So, but I swear half the budget of this thing went into their map, the giant map that was on the floor that they had to stand on, and seemed to be able to move parts of it and all sorts of things. It was like,
yeah,
okay, I got these states that can move, and this state needs to move here, and yeah.
I didn't recognize any of the people standing on the, individual states. I figured some of those must be celebrities, but I didn't recognize any of those.
Yeah. Or they just took the extras and put them on there and hoping people would think that they were celebrities and things.
Yeah, because it's so small.
They can't see them. They're ants, whatever. It's all good.
And remember the TV screens, right? Weren't that big.
Yeah. I mean, they were 25 inches at your biggest, and most people were probably watching a 15-inch or 17-inch or something. So yeah. A little different today. Anyway, I guess we'll let it go at that unless there's anything else either of you want to throw in.
No, I thank you for giving us the opportunity to see it. A really interesting time capsule of people in the middle trying to figure out what's going on with America.
Yeah.
Because they didn't praise current president, they didn't praise war, things going on, so they were really trying to get to that, indeed, that sort of silent majority, that middle that's trying to somehow bring everybody together. So
and I still think a show like this could have been the same concept, keep everything the same, if they would have spent some money on their writing team and got some writers who could have punched it up and made some parts of it a little more funny and a little more because I mean if things proceeded more like the Bob Hope section and the Jack Benny section and the then the Phyllis Diller section and things throughout, it would have made it a much more enjoyable experience. And they still could have hit on history, and they still could have hit on feeling good about your country and all of that.
I think a really great point about how do you be sincere about patriotism, and then with comedy, it as you say, it would take excellent writers to make it work.
Right.
So.
And you sort of have to step away and go into the comedy and then come back to the serious point. You'd have to keep doing that a little bit throughout the special, and that would probably work. It's just tricky. And I think they didn't want to do tricky. They wanted to do in your face. So that's what they did. So, yeah. Anyway. All right. We'll let it go at that. And I hope folks enjoyed it. And we will see you folks next time. Well, Jello again. It's great to have everybody here. This is Buck Benny speaking. I have our friend Terry Phillips back to join us. It's been a while. Both of us are a little under the weather, but we're here for your enjoyment. So there you go. I'm in my red, white, and blue. The only thing I could find was my hat. So I thought I'd put my hat on to be blue because we are This is Independence Day or close to it, from 2023, if you're watching this sometime in the future. And we thought, I just had this, oh, there you go. I had this special that it doesn't fit in yet with our timeline. We've been presenting right now on about 60. I think we're on 61 time frame. And we're just working ourselves through chronologically. I didn't realize we get so bogged down with 59 and 60 taking so long. There's so many different things to present, but it's been wonderful. And we've been having a great special summer. Jack Benny special summer is what we've been calling it. And it'll probably extend past the summer into September and so forth, but we'll see. But I decided to do this one out of order. This is 1970 we're jumping up to, because of all the specials that I've ever seen, this is probably the one trying to be the most patriotic. Whether it succeeds or not is in the eye of the beholder. Kathy, who couldn't be here, passed on some reviews from the time. And I don't think I'm going to read that unless Terry wants to read it or anything. But basically, it's going to say the same thing that we're probably going to say. It was hit and miss. It's hard to keep this many people, give them all something meaningful to do and so forth. And so everybody gets barely featured. I mean, every person, I think you could go, oh, I wish that person would have been there longer, done more, they would have given more to do. But anyway, so well, I'll just run through some of the names that are in here really quick. We have of the old guard, we have Lucille Ball, we have Jack Benny, we have Bob Hope, Red Skelton, George Burns walks by. The only person in the whole cast other than John Wayne who's not in character is George Burns, and to me it's one of the funniest little bits that he does. I love it. Anyway, and then we have both Rowan and Martin here from Laugh In. We have half of the Smothers Brothers with Tommy Smothers. We have Captain Kirk here, William Shatner. It would be right after Star Trek ended in '69. The next year is 1970. And then, we have, did I say Jack Benny? We definitely have Jack Benny. Then there's just so many folks. I can't even list them all. The entire cast pretty much of Bonanza is on this thing. So anyway, well, you will be surprised every time you see a star. It's like, oh, there's another star. There's another star. O'Brien.
Hugh O'Brien.
Hugh O'Brien from his biggest thing was Wyatt Earp, wasn't it? Or yeah, TV show, The Life and Times of Wyatt Earp, maybe. Life and Time. No, yeah, I think it was it. Yeah. Anyway, so which was a good one of the first adult westerns next to Gunsmoke, and it was a good show.
And the singers, Bing Crosby, Johnny Cash, Roy Clark. You're right. It goes on and on and on.
Yeah, and Johnny Cash singing on a train. It's so much fun. It looks like the train's moving because his hair is blowing. So it's pretty cool. And then the other star of this whole thing that makes a great appearance and is amazing is the map. They have a map of the United States that I guess it looks bigger than it says. What I read is it was 80 feet by 50 feet, but it sure looks even bigger than that, because it's in a lot of the scenes as they're standing on it. The section of when we get to the Civil War part of the special, it cracks in half. Really cool effect for back in 1970, and I just I remember watching this special as a kid when I was 6 or 7 years old, and I remember the map is what I think triggered my memory to remember it. And then of course some of the stars that were in this. I remember asking my dad, "Who's that? Who's that?" And he would tell me who the people were. But I remember we were excited in watching it. We loved watching Bonanza, and we knew that all the guys in Bonanza were in this, and so I thought they'd all be together, but two of them were together, and then Lauren Green played General Washington. No, President Washington, actually, I think is who he was playing. So at the timeline. Anyway, so we'll go into it and let's talk to Terry. Terry, what are any of your thoughts or anything you noticed about this?
Let's see. So this aired on November 29th of 1970. There wasn't any particular hook for the date. I think this was well past Thanksgiving. So it was just, that was when they put it on.
Yeah, I would have thought it would come out around July, but I guess
sure. Yeah, sure. It would have been an obvious 4th of July thing. One thing that jumped out at me when I looked at the IMDb listing was that out of this enormous cast, there were 4 people listed who were not born in the United States.
Okay.
Care to guess who those were?
Not born in the United States. No, I don't know. Who would that be?
Okay, well, Lauren Green from Bonanza.
I would not have guessed
William Shatner.
Okay, yeah, Canadian.
Both Canadians. Canadian. Bob Hope was born in Great Britain.
Okay.
And the director, Stan Harris, was also Canadian.
Oh, okay.
And the director had done a lot of these spectaculars. This was right in his wheelhouse. But I thought it was interesting that part of the enthusiasm for American patriotism came from those who were not born here and who became U.S. citizens. And I think all of them did become American citizens.
Yeah.
The other thing that I found on IMDb, which I'm not sure is accurate, is that this was Jack Benny's last performance. But I saw a couple of other things that were broadcast after this. I don't know if they were made after this. But
no, this couldn't be his. It could have been his last guest performance, maybe on a special. But I don't even think that. I thought he was on things after. He certainly had his own specials up until he had him the year of his death in 1974. He had one came out in like January or February or something, and then he passed in December because he was he had his second farewell. He had a first farewell special, and then he had his second farewell special, and he was working on his third when he passed. So I don't know where they're getting their facts from.
But the next year he was on a couple of other shows, not his own. So I don't know where that came from. But people put all kinds of things on the internet.
I know, right? Yeah, people think things and then
One of the things I especially liked, you mentioned that Tommy Smothers was on.
Yeah.
I found 2 things amusing about that. One is that the Smothers brothers were on up against Bonanza. That was the big competition. And it was nice that they were both on the show, although they didn't appear on the screen together. However, Tommy Smothers was very liberal and John Wayne was not. But I thought it was very nice that they found some common ground between them, that they were able to celebrate some of the spirit and values of the United States. And I thought it was a really great way to appeal to a broad spectrum of American viewers. I really like that.
Well, and the same thing can be said with Rowan and Martin, who were on here from Laugh-In, because Laugh-In was still going at the time. It was.
I think so, yeah.
And I was kind of excited to see the Smothers brothers. I was thinking it was going to be both of them, but it was just one, and Rowan and Martin together, because in my mind, they were the same people pretty much, because the Smothers brothers went off the air and then Rowan and Martin came on the air.
Yeah.
And to me, it was a continuation. I remember watching those shows with my dad, and I just thought they were the same guys. They just started to dress fancier, but because they had the same sort of irreverence and things and left leaning for sure.
When I watched the special the first time, I caught a reference to CBS firing the Smothers brothers, which happened the year before. I listened to it again and I couldn't find it. But do you remember hearing that?
About why they got fired?
It's some reference to them not being on CBS.
Yeah.
Because they had just been fired by CBS.
Yeah, right. Yes. Well, and which was amazing that they got fired and yet Laugh-In was still going.
Yeah.
And Laugh-In was probably more controversial than the Smothers brothers.
I'm not sure. I think the Smothers brothers were a little more pointed than.
You think so? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, maybe Laugh-In was just more. I think Laugh-In might have been more goofy, comedy mixed with more titillation or sexual energy or whatever in the show and things than the Smothers Brothers was possibly. Smothers Brothers was more political.
There's one other thing that jumped out at me. It was hard to miss.
Yeah.
There's a thing in comedy referred to as a callback. If you tell a joke and then later in your bit, later in your set, later in your routine, you refer to that earlier joke, it's referred to as a callback.
Yeah.
And they did a callback maybe 7 or 8 times, if not more, on this special about, well, I don't want to spoil it. So it's about a horse.
Yeah.
And I just, I thought, well, okay, they've done it twice. Well, they've done it 3 times. They're sure they're not going to do it. They've done it 5 times. They just keep hitting it over and over again. And it was hilarious. I don't know
kept beating that dead horse over.
That's exactly right, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I thought that was pretty funny.
No, I agree. And I thought it was interesting that the bit that probably lands the worst historically is probably the bit between Michael Landon and Haas, Dan Blocker.
Oh.
And Dan Blocker is playing an Indian chief, I guess, and which is, I'm sure they thought was funny to have Dan Blocker do that, who's known for being a cowboy or whatever. And they're fighting over how much to pay for land, and the humor works on some level, but it's hard to look away from the insultingness of it as well to Native Americans and so forth. But all this comedy is of a time, and Terry and I were talking about this before the show, and you just have to accept that that's at the time was considered humorous and things. I think even at the time you may have questioned it and been like, yeah, kind of insensitive. And now the one thing that struck me about that piece is I was thinking to myself, oh man, this piece would have worked. I could see how the writers and things would think, oh, we'll give it to Jack, because with Jack, a money thing would have played. I'm so glad they didn't put Jack in that piece, because the piece he was in is not as controversial in any way, and yet it's still funny. And of everybody's intro, everybody gets clapped on. In fact, the Variety article that Kathy passed on, a Variety article that was a review of the time. It's pretty much like we're saying a hit and miss sort of thing. But it had mentioned that when folks came on, they got good cheers and good audience reaction. And when they were done, they got less. And so they were going, if it was a great special, they would have gotten as big of a send-off. The only person who came close going in and out was Jack. His was noticeably the loudest applause for coming on the show, just when he first appears, of anybody in the whole show, which I always think is interesting, because this is a great chance to test what I've always wondered. It's like everybody always says they love Jack and the audience loved Jack. And I'm like, well, but did they love Bob Hope? Did they love Lucille Ball? Did they love all these people in the same way or more? And you become where I'm so into Jack that I'm like, am I missing something here, putting him up on a higher pedestal than he should be? But in this show, you could actually compare the applause everybody gets for coming out. It's all the biggest stars that exist. And Jack definitely gets the most applause. And then as he's leaving, he gets the most, but that's a little bit of a cheat, because Jack's doing one of his big things, the whole staring at the audience until they laugh sort of thing. He's sort of forcing the laugh in certain ways, but that's Jack and the way Jack performed. So,
well, let me disagree with you.
Okay.
I don't think there was a studio audience.
Okay.
I think all of the reaction that we heard, the applause, the laughter,
yes.
I think that was all added after the fact.
But that's when which is fine. But somebody along the way thought Jack would get the most laughter.
And I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. But I think what we heard was not a real live studio
Yeah.
audience. And in that year they would have mentioned it, and they didn't mention
They
it.
didn't mention it, yeah. And they never panned to the audience or anything. So yeah, you're
pretty
probably
sure
right.
that was sweetened.
Yeah.
Because Lucy, I mean, you know, all this stuff is subjective too.
Yeah.
Lucy was and to this day remains phenomenally popular.
Yes.
Bob Hope has his fans, you know. So I did like very much that they found the gems of each of these performers. I mean, Jack Benny and George Burns, you know, having them do the crossover, it was just perfect. Bob Hope's monologue to the troops, you know, it was just you're a genius, because it was the ultimate version of what we think of when we think about Bob Hope, you know, talking to troops, entertaining troops. So whoever produced this knew what they were doing. They found the sweet spot. But I take your point that the popularity as reflected by the audience is hard to measure, because everybody's different. Everybody brings their own taste and their own preferences to this.
I will say this though, Terry, because I was just thinking, okay, so we're saying it was sweetness, which it totally can get. It's just interesting that Variety, which usually is the behind the scenes paper, would mention the applause and use that as part of the review.
Yeah.
That when they were leaving, they weren't getting as much of a reception as
I'm not sure the reviewer had it right.
Okay. And I could believe that the reviewer could have had that wrong. It's just interesting that's the reason I brought it up, because I didn't know it was live or not live.
Yeah, as I was watching it actually jumped out at me that this was canned laughter.
Yeah. Well, and I would think it would be, in that to have that long of a show, it obviously parts of it were not done live for sure.
Right.
Just the way it, with all those actors and the whole thing, I can't imagine that they would get all these actors to come on live and do this one after the other. I mean, it would be an assembly line backstage of who you're going to bring, right? I would assume this was done over a number of weeks or something to get all these people on and doing their bits. And then they'd link all the bits together. John Wayne's piece at the end, I thought was well done for the time, a little heavy-handed, but a lot of this is heavy-handed. And that's, I mean, if you're going to try and be patriotic, then you're going to kind of be heavy-handed sometimes.
I would have liked to use some of that material at the end in my one-man show. I think, I mean, it wasn't Ronald Reagan saying it, but still, it was very consistent with the notion of patriotism at the time.
And I'm kind of surprised they didn't have, wouldn't he have been Governor Ronald Reagan at this time in
1970? Yeah.
So I'm surprised that they didn't have him make an appearance, because you would think that would tie in well, and it'd be the sort of thing he'd be willing to do. On the other hand, it was early in his governing, I believe.
Yeah, he was elected the first time in 66.
I was going to say 68, but whatever is 66.
It was a presidential year.
Yeah.
California.
But the question is, did he want to kind of distance himself?
And then the second time,
acting.
I think he would have just been reelected. I think that's right. I should know this. I wrote a play about him.
So who knows if he'd be interested in doing something like this or not. But anyway, I thought it was well done for what it wanted to be. It was one of the longer specials. It was an hour and 20, I think, is how long it runs for us.
Yeah,
so
119.
An hour and a half special or something.
I'm guessing that's because they cut about 10 minutes of commercials out of it, right?
That's what I would think so.
Because there were no local commercials, only the national Anheuser-Busch spots.
Yeah, that's what
and Ed McMahon.
Yeah, because I was going to say, when we were just mentioning it, I was just thinking, well, it couldn't just be the commercials that are, I mean, it must have been longer, but it's been 2 hours or something to fit in the other commercials, but they didn't do that many commercials back then. And on top of it, a lot of the commercials are left in, like you say, the Anheuser-Busch's are all in there.
Yeah.
So chances are they just cut out like you say, the local commercials, and that was 10 minutes. So that was the total sense. It was an hour and a half special. But what a wonderful piece to have, a piece of history, and that we can enjoy. And I just thought for 4th of July, it'd be great to bring this out. But having said that, you're doing something somewhat can be seen as patriotic, I suppose, and things. And so I thought we'd give that a mention, since this is going to be coming out. You have your one-man show for Ronald Reagan that's going to be coming out, and you can tell us a little about when that's going to be. But the thing I'm excited about that's new that you just had come out is you're also doing a podcast on Ronald Reagan, and we'll do a link in this show to so you can catch that podcast. So I'll definitely look down below in the show notes, and we'll connect you up to the podcast. And your one man show was doing a fundraiser, but I think it's over now.
That's right.
But is there any? Do you have a Patreon? Do you have anything they can do to help you out with the show or anything like that?
No, we don't at the moment. We had done a Kickstarter campaign. It did not succeed, so we didn't get any revenue from that. If one were to go to my website, there's an address where people could send the contributions. This is not a nonprofit, so there's no tax benefit if that's the reason. Don't bother. But if you want to support the arts and support our project, you can go to reaganplay.com and contribute that way.
Well, tell us a little about both of those things and what kind of what they're about a little bit. And we're going to do a podcast about these in long term, but I just thought, it's a patriotic podcast. Why not talk about Ronald Reagan a little bit and stuff?
Sure. So 4 years ago, I was asked by a friend of mine to write a one-man show for him about Ronald Reagan. And I did that. And for a variety of reasons, he withdrew from the project, and we chose a new actor to play Reagan. And then, of course, because of the pandemic, theaters closed, and now we're finally able to get people into theaters again. And so this play, which is called Ronald Reagan Saves the World, will premiere on September the 1st at the Center Stage Theater in Santa Barbara, California. And it's about an hour and a half of the 40th president of the United States reflecting on his life. It's an evening in the Oval Office. And it's probably the most ambitious and the most satisfying project I have ever worked on, and I'm really delighted that we're finally able to get it in front of an audience.
And then you've taken I assume the research for that and things made you think, well, I can do a podcast about this too. So that branched out to the podcast that I think you told me earlier was going to be around a dozen or more episodes. And you have the first one out now.
Correct.
And kind of, can you explain a little bit about how the podcast is different from the one-man show?
Right. The one-man show is drawn largely from Ronald Reagan's own words and then stitched together with your humble playwright crafting a story that links it all together. Mm-hmm. The podcast is called The Secret Life of Ronald Reagan, and it's about things you probably didn't know. The one-man show is almost entirely drawn from the public record. The podcast looks beneath the surface, and the first one is called Reagan and the Challenger, and it's the story behind the speech that Reagan gave following the Challenger disaster and how they made that transition from what was supposed to be his State of the Union address to this other speech that he gave from the Oval Office. Some of the other subjects will be about Reagan being left-handed, his eyesight, his hearing, the fact that he was a lifeguard when he was a young man, his relationship with Mikhail Gorbachev, these sorts of topics that people are aware of in general, but the specifics might not be that well known. Right. And so that's what we do. And each of these is going to be about 15 or 20 minutes long. Not a deep dive, but touching on some aspects of Reagan's life that are probably not that familiar to most people.
Right. And then the first one, I was expecting just a chat, about Reagan and things, but there's clips that you use, audio clips and things and so forth to underscore your point, and not just from Reagan talking, but from other folks talking too. And you interview some folks too, correct?
That's right. The person I talked to the longest on that first podcast episode is the editor of the Washington Monthly Magazine, Paul Glastras. And Paul was one of President Bill Clinton's senior speechwriters. And he is able to talk about the speech from the point of view of a presidential speechwriter, a former presidential speechwriter.
Which I love that part. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then we also have, because this was the middle of the Cold War, we also have someone who had been living in, who was born in and was living in the Soviet Union at the time of the Challenger disaster. And so who's able to explain what it was like from that point of view, from the Soviet perspective. And he is coincidentally one of the actors whose voice is heard in my one-man show.
Nice.
That's another little tie-in.
Now, do you have other episodes done yet, like the second or third or anything? And no, you're not feeling well, so it's going to be a little while till we get.
Yeah, we're at this point, we're probably looking at about one a month.
Yeah.
If I can increase that pace, I will. But I don't have a lot of time left. This is precisely 2 months before we open in Santa Barbara. We're talking on July the 1st. We go up on September the 1st. So I've got a little bit to do. You can see on that table behind me, if you're watching, some of the many props that I'm going to be driving to Santa Barbara.
I'm just so delighted you had time for us today, which is great.
Well, it's always wonderful to talk with you and to talk about this passion project of mine. I'm so happy to be doing this and finally able to get it in front of an audience. But it is remarkable how many details there are, how much work there is to do in getting a live performance on the stage. I now understand why most playwrights don't produce their own shows.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think any of us will really have any understanding of that like you do from the inside. There's just no way. It's one of those things you can't empathize with or understand unless you go through it. So, but just know we're delighted that you're doing this, and it should be a fun and interesting piece. I'd love to see it. I'd love for you at some point towards the end of the run to either film it or record it in some way that if it goes away, it'll still live on somehow. And we'll be, for those of us who don't have it come to our hometown and can't get a chance to see it, we'll be able to see it or hear it.
Well, we'll definitely record it. We are definitely planning to take it on the road. In fact, we have already got 2 venues set following the Santa Barbara run, but I have very ambitious plans. I want to take this to all 50 states and to other countries, because there's no place on earth where the name Ronald Reagan is unfamiliar.
Right.
So go to reaganplay.com and we will post, as we have future venues scheduled, we'll post those locations and dates, and I hope you'll be able to come see it in person.
Yep. Sounds great. So I can't wait. Anyway, but while you're waiting, enjoy his podcast, because it's very entertaining as well. And like I say, we'll connect to that, all of that things that he mentioned in the show notes, so you can just click on them and get there. But let's get back to this special. I just want to say, is there anything else that you want to cover in this that we haven't already talked about?
Yeah, there's one last thing I want to say. I'm always amazed when I hear an actor who is not known for being a singer, when they turn out to be really good singers.
Yes.
And of course, there were a lot of great singers on this show, but many of the actors who appear are not known for having a singing voice. And so a lot of them also sang. Phyllis Diller sang. Ed McMahon sang. Ronan Martin sang. But the one voice, sadly, that scratched my ear a little bit at the end was John Wayne.
John Wayne. Okay.
John Wayne was not a singer.
Yeah.
And he hit a note that, well, let's just say it's a good thing that the Duke was such a great actor, because if he'd had to support himself as a singer, it would be who?
Well, and at the end of this,
they all are singing God Bless America, right?
That's right.
And it goes through, and each person has a line. It's really
That's
neat,
right.
actually. I remember that seeing that as a kid, and that's standing out because it's a chance to kind of have each one of them sort of take a bow at the end.
Yeah.
By going through every single one of them and
It
doing
was
that.
wonderful. It was really wonderful.
It was really great the way it was done. The two people that stood out to me were John Wayne, like you say, and the other one was Jack. And probably because I'm more in tune with Jack than other performers.
Yeah.
But when he hit it, I was thinking, okay, he plays the violin. I've heard him sing on his radio show at times. He usually can hit the notes okay and everything, but he wasn't that great. I mean, it wasn't like, I think he was hitting the notes maybe, but it didn't sound great. It didn't, and it depends on who they bracket you against, right? If the person before you is really good and the person after you is really good, and you're not so hot, it's going to stand out like crazy. So that's yeah. But it just an entertaining special. I think folks will, if you can just accept that it's of his time, and if you can also step away from the Bud Light controversy that's going on right now, and it's losing market share by the day, and just enjoy the Budweiser commercials for what they are back in 1970, and let the current things going on by you. I think you'll enjoy this performance.
Go Clydesdales.
Yes, that's right. Love the Clydesdales. Anyway, thanks everybody. Enjoy, and we'll see you next time for more of our Jack Benny special summer. And Terry, thank you for joining us. Terry is joining us whether he likes to or not throughout the summer, because we've done a lot of the specials other years and things, so they'll be coming back. Especially, actually, in the next upcoming weeks, we're going to start hitting those early Jack Benny specials that we've already done before. So we'll be representing them as part of our summer.
I'll be looking forward to seeing me.
Yeah, and you can see both of us gain beards, lose beards, sort of things happen all. So there you go. Enjoy. We'll see you guys next time.